my name is Harmony, and today I'm going to bring to you a book review of Love Letters to the Dead. I finished this book last night at around 10 o'clock and stayed up for a half hour because I have a lot of problems with this book. But I will try to keep this as non-ranty as possible, so I'm going to separate this into a summary, things I liked, things I didn't like, and my overall thoughts. Oh, and just so you know, this book does contain mentions of rape, abuse, and suicide. So if you're uncomfortable with these topics, I wouldn't recommend reading it. This book is about Laurel, who is going into high school and she's trying to cope with the death of her sister and the divorce of her parents. Her English teacher gives her an assignment to write a letter to a dead person, which she does, and she ends up with this whole notebook of letters that she writes to people like Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, Judy Garland, and it helps her cope and tell her story. So the things I did like the idea of the letters to the dead. I thought that was really interesting, and I did actually like some of the characters. I liked Sky, who is the love interest, and I think he gets a lot of credit for what he has to go through. And I also like Natalie, who is one of Laurel's friends. So, yeah. Now getting into things I didn't like. Oh boy. This is a very negative book, and I don't mind reading negative books. I've read a lot of books about depression and suicide, and they've never really bothered me because they've got somewhat of an uplifting feel, even if they're not completely orthodox. But this book is just like straight negative, going into all these dark themes, and sometimes it feels like it's coming out of nowhere, especially towards the end, which is what really upset me. And I also didn't like a lot of the characters. I did not like Laurel, the main narrator. I did not like her other friend, Hannah. I didn't like May either, and she's supposed to be like an ethereal being in Laurel's mind since she died. But I thought a lot of the choices she made were really dumb. Like, Laurel's talking about it, and she's going to the movies with her sister, but her sister's actually sneaking off with her older boyfriend and leaving her sister behind with this skeezy older guy. And I just like, why would you do that? And at that time, she was in middle school. You can only imagine what happens. And Laurel, sometimes she just goes off in this poetic world, so you can't even tell what's happening most of the time. And I really didn't like that. I thought it was annoying. I couldn't tell where I was going. And oh boy. So there's a subplot about Natalie, her friend, being gay, and she's in love with Hannah, which I wouldn't mind a lesbian love story. I'd love that. Of course, I don't like that it's only a side focus, but it's still there. But Hannah's awful to her. Like, she's constantly leading her on. She has 2 boyfriends. And she's 15. And they're both, one's in college and one's like 25, 26. I just thought, oh. And there's a scene, spoilers, where that's some kind of party and they're making out, Natalie and Hannah, but they're doing it in secret, and then Laurel's kind of out of it, so she opens the door on them and everyone sees them, and Hannah's boyfriend's upset, her brother's upset, who also I don't like, because he's supposed to be this abusive figure, but I just felt like his character wasn't necessary, like, at all. Anyway, but they catch her and, like, her boyfriend's mad at her and he's yelling at her. And what she says is so bad. She says, "It's just a girl. It doesn't count." And then she goes back and pretends that it's all okay. Like, she's constantly leading around through this book, like, yeah, we love each other, but I still like both of my boyfriends, and I'll keep them. I just feel so bad for Natalie. You could do so much better. There's so many girls you can date. You don't have to stick with this one who treats you well. And any other things I didn't like? I felt like the resolution was a bit rushed. I didn't like how it really only tried to make things get better. The epilogue, which is a few pages at the end, I felt like there could be better build up, like slowly building towards get her, but she just spends the entire time like with all these self-destructive behaviors. She only starts to do something at the end. So my overall thoughts for this book was pretty disappointing. I thought it would be more interesting than it was, and I really didn't mean for it to infuriate me this much, so I probably shouldn't have read this long. But I give it a 2 out of 5 stars because I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay through most of the beginning and the halfway point, but the end just kills me. Ended it for me. So those were my thoughts. Sorry if you like this book. I really, really didn't. Maybe it's because the author says one of her main pals and inspiration is Stephen Chbosky, who wrote Perks of Being a Wallflower, which I didn't like either. So what are you gonna do? So this is the end of the video. My name's Harmony. Like, subscribe. Comment if you have any other nice ideas for videos or have any questions for me. And my social media is down below. Thank you.